place.
Well, look at here, y'all. It's time has come now. We fixing to take a break. I'm going to hook up with the Turtle Man up there in Kentucky, and he will be on next right here on Getting Outdoors. You're listening to me and Mr. Jimmy Brock, and we fixing to talk to the Turtle Man live action from Lebanon, Kentucky. Y'all turn your radio up because you're going to hear in a minute, Turtle Man up next on Getting Outdoors right here on 95.5.
Big Daddy, Getting Outdoors. We'll be back in just a moment.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Getting Outdoors. Me and Mr. Jimmy Brock in the studio, and we have been looking forward to this a long time. Old buddy of mine called me up. I think it was about 3 or 4 months ago, Josh Bailey. You know Josh.
Yeah, I saw Josh the other day.
And Josh said, Big Daddy, you got to get hooked up with the Turtle Man. He said, you got to, and of course, everybody's seen his videos on YouTube. And I called his friend and his old banjo player. You heard him playing the banjo, Neil James. And Neil's just a super nice guy. I tell you, Mr. Jimmy, these folks right here, you said it best. They fit right in down here in Wilcox County. And we just proud to have him. His name is Ernie Brown Jr., but nobody knows Ernie Brown Jr. Everybody knows the Turtle Man. Good morning, Turtle Man.
That's live action, Turtle Man.
Live action, Turtle Man. Man, we appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man. Everybody's probably pulling at you at every end, but we appreciate you taking the time to be on the show this morning.
Well, I'm glad to be here, glad to be up. Look like a gray squirrel this morning and been a bright-eyed and bushy tail.
I hear you. Well, I tell you, me and Mr. Jimmy just want to know, let's tell the listeners, Turtle Man, just how in the world did you get started at this very unique, I guess you'd call it a sport? How did you get started doing this?
Yeah, it's a sport to me, and it's a talent that I always found when I was a little boy. When I was 5 years old, my grandma always called me Khrushchev because I didn't have no hair at 5 years old. So she named me Khrushchev after the Russian that came over here and was doing a speech for the president. I don't know if you ever remember that or not back in your day.
I do remember that.
Yeah, so that's how I got my nickname Khrushchev, but got Turtle Man when I started catching turtles and when I was 7 years old. And I seen this magazine book with the Rolling Stones on it, and I told them I was 5 years old at the time, and I said, well, who's that, Grandma and Grandpa? And they go, well, Khrushchev, that there is Rolling Stone. That's the Rolling Stone magazine. I buy that every now and then, look at the famous people. And I said, okay, that sounds good. I'm going to be on there one of these days. They kind of laughed and chuckled, you know, said, just eat your breakfast there, Turtle, Khrushchev. And I said, all right. And I said, well, I went out in the woods and I started finding my talent there. I shot slingshots, shotguns, and trying to, figure out what to do. And one day when I turned 7, we ran out of food, and my Uncle Philip came over. He said, well, I'll show y'all how to get some food. And so he took me over to this pond, and me and my dad, and he jumped out in that pond, and big old turtle started bubbling, and he jerked that thing out on the bank, and I said, oh, man, I done found what I need in life. Yeah, I was jumping up and down like a little brat kid, you know, when they real spoiled. And that's what I looked like there. And so I said, I got to try that. My dad said, well, hold on a minute now, son. So he jumped out in the pond with Philip, and he stirred up one, but he got bit on the hand, and he come crying to the bank and stomping his foot. You don't want to do that, son. You don't want to do that. That's too dangerous. I can't let you do it. And I started crying, jumping up and down like that little brat kid again. And and Philip said, heck, I done got him one bubbling under over here, and just put him on his back. And he picked me up and put me on that old turtle's back, and I tugged at that thing for about an hour and a half, and getting it through the bank and getting it pulled out of that mud. Man, they're strong in that mud now.
Yeah, I can tell you.
And I pulled that thing out in that mud, and I've been hooked ever since, and I've been getting better at it, learning new techniques and learning what to do and teaching myself not what to do, because you get bit really badly, and they got a vicious bite there. But that's how it got started.
Well, Turtle Man, now, when you got started doing that, of course, you just did it, I guess, was your intentions to get famous and be on YouTube? I saw one of your videos been hit over 1 million times this morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, there, I always told my school teacher when I went to Mikeville School, Mr. Coulter, up there at Mikeville, and that's an old country hillbilly school, you know, and I told him, he said, "What are you going to be, Ernie Jr.?" And I said, "I'm going to be a hunter." And he goes, he said, "Well, hunting and gathering days are over, just give it up." Because I got told that every year when I went to school, and I said, "I'm still going to be that hunter. I want to show y'all how to do it." And nobody believed me. Of course, back then, nobody believed in hunting. There was no such thing as hunting TV and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And they just now got popular the last, 7 years?
Yeah.
And anyway, I guess I stuck with what I believe in, lived in the woods and learned the animals and did everything I could do and to make a living. And, of course, on the weekend, they all say, "Going turtle hunting, turtle man?" I said, "Heck yeah, let's go." I'd jump in the truck, we'd take off, turtle hunt all day. We'd catch 40, 50 turtles a day, had big cookings with them, and finally it just kept getting bigger and bigger. People would call me all over the states and, all over the county of the state of Kentucky. Of course, you're in Alabama. Haven't been to Alabama yet. Any big snappers down in there?
Man, what you talking about? There's some snappers down here that's waiting on you to come down here and catch them.
I guess they want a piece of the turtle man. That's live action snappers. Yeah.
Well, Turtle Man, at what point in your time did you go from just being a local? I guess you was always a local celebrity / turtle catcher. Man, when did you get discovered? And I know you've been on Fox News. You've been on all kind of stuff. When did that happen?
That started back in. I guess what really got famous is 2006. I did a show for Miss Penn. She had a problem with some snapping turtle that got one of her dogs and pulled it in the mud and killed it. And I guess it ate it because she never could find it, but she found the hair of it in the pond. And I guess one of the big turtles got it and pulled it in there when it was getting a drink of water. And I went down there and looked at her pond, and Mike True was with me, and he went and showed me the pond. And I said, "Yeah, definitely a snapping turtle problem." And I had my clean clothes on. You know, I like to look kindly fancy. And so I walked up there on that dam. There was a big turtle laying there, and I dived out on him, clothes and all now, and it's clean clothes and all. And I come out with that turtle in about 3 seconds, and he was sitting there. Good Lord Almighty, we got to take this down to the pen store. We got to film this. So, so we went down there and told Miss Penn that the turtles were in the pond, definitely in there. I said, "I seen 3 more." So we went up there, and she called all the celebrities. She called, oh my God, I don't know how many people. And I think one of them was Channel 27 News, Denny Treese. And she called Brian Crawford. And they all came to the show, and I jumped down there, and I caught 14 more snapping turtles out of her pond.
Dang.
And she like to die. And then they had the penthouse blowout. That's where you race with, well, they're not bathrooms. They're bathroom-built sheds. That's what we call them. We call them outhouses. I don't know if you know what an outhouse is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we race with outhouses on wheels. We build these outhouses on wheels down here. We had big races with them, too. That's pretty fun thing to go to down there in Kentucky. Anyway, next thing I know, Denny Treese called me wanting to do a show in Woodford County, Kentucky. And I said, "Yeah, I'll go do a show with you." And he called me up, and it come a heck of a storm. Had some people from Ohio showed up, Chuck Hampton and Sherry Peck, and let's see, I think it was Teresa Hampton, and they all went and with me. They wanted to see it too. I said, "Yeah, okay." So we went 2 or 3 ponds, didn't get nothing. Because it rained so hard, it made them too deep. And then we hit one pond. I said, "Take me down there." I said, "That's the pond we need." And I said, "If there ain't a turtle in there, I'll quit turtle hunting." So we went down there, and I latched on to one, and it was a tug of war. It took me about 15 minutes to get it out of the mud and get it to the bank. And Denny Treese said, "Well, you made a believer out of me." It was a 40-pound snapping turtle. I named it Denny Treese, and he was thrilled to death, and they had it on there. And then, man, it just kept growing after that. Tim Farmer got a hold of me. Brian Crawford did a story on it, said walking on water. Mark Bailey did a story on it. He's a big famous writer for Y'all Discover Kentucky. And that's the name of his magazine, and he put me a big story in there. There's a real live-action crocodile man from Kentucky, the Turtle Man. That's what he put on the headline. And, man, it's been getting bigger and bigger and ever since there. And I'm just loving my fans. My fans keep me going.
Well, I tell you what, we fixing to get you some fans here. All those boys over there in Camden will listen to you this morning. And listen, we got to take a break, but you come back with us, and I want you to take us on a turtle hunt. I want you to tell these old boys down here how you find those turtles and then how you catch them. Will you do that for us?
I sure will. I'll sure give you all the demonstrations I can.
All right, man. We're talking to the Turtle Man live action from Kentucky. Me and Mr. Jimmy Brock. Mr. Jimmy going to ask you some questions. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back with the Turtle Man live action from Kentucky. Let's hear that rebel yell, Turtle Man. Hey, y'all. We'll be right back. You listen to Getting Outdoors right here on 95.5. Y'all stay tuned.
It's easy to be part of Getting Outdoors. Just call Big Daddy Lawler toll free at 1-800-245-9532 or star 95.5 on your cell phone.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Getting Outdoors. We are live right here at WJDB. Me and Mr. Jimmy Brock, my co-host this morning, and we are talking to Turtle Man live action up in Lebanon, Kentucky. And one question before we go on that turtle hunt, I wanted to ask you, Turtle Man. Me and Mr. Jimmy was talking, said him and Rip Godbold used to catch a bunch of soft-shell turtles. Do you ever run across those?
Yes, yeah, I've run across them things, but you can't catch them. You got to sneak up on them with a hook or a rod to catch them in the sand. That's where you get them there. You got to rod them out. I tried to run one down one time. I chased it for 4 hours in a pond, and I had it cornered. I said, I finally got you cornered. And I finally went over to grab it. That son of a did a frisbee. I mean, just went up in the air over my head. I did 3 skips across the water and went down. I just walked on out, and that guy said, what happened? I said, did you see that flying saucer come up over my head and did a frisbee style across tripping rocks across that pond? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, I can't do no more. I'm 4 hours on that thing, and I can't catch it.
So you can't catch no soft-shell turtle, huh?
I'm soft-shell around there faster than lightning, buddy. I'll tell you.
Well, I tell you what, that's interesting, too.
We caught ours on the trot lines when the catfish quit biting and the guards quit biting. We caught it. Big soft-shell turtles.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's supposed to be some good eating, though, ain't it? Turtle Man, the soft-shell turtles, that's supposed to be some good eating, ain't it?
Yeah, it tastes like turkey pot pie. Turkey pot pie.
All right, let's go now. Now, Turtle Man, I told you the other day, you said you was kind of nervous about getting on the radio, but you better get over that nervous. Now, these boys you talking to in South Alabama, they either working in the paper mills, they're working in the logging woods, and you done had some experience with a chainsaw. I heard that story. That's how you lost your teeth, was with a chainsaw.
Yeah, a guy run into me, man. Yeah, he didn't see me, and we was cutting the power line tree down, and he swung that chain. He said, you move that first block when I get that 4th block cut off. I said, all righty. And that was on July the 7th. And he reached down. I reached down there to get it, man. He gave me 189 stitches through my head, knocked my teeth out. And, yeah, about bled to death. And I had this Indian hair look, this wild Indian Native American hair look, all rolled up. And it went up in the chainsaw and stopped it. It was a 351 Husqvarna. And, whew, man, I had to stop myself to get it off of me. And I said, Doc, I said, boss, we better go to the doctor. I look pretty bad here.